Hello, everybody. This episode, we are going to be discussing the injustice that's going on across America right now. We are going to be discussing what happened with Tyre Nichols in Memphis, Tennessee, and just trying to open up a conversation about how we should talk to our children about this situation, how they should handle police in this situation, and just where we go from here. So this is what this episode is going to be
Our
about.
thoughts and prayers go out to Tyre Nichols' family and friends and loved ones.
Let's get into this discussion.
M3.
Injustice. Injustice. Injustice.
Hey everybody, it's Jay.
Yo, what's going on? And it's Zell.
And this is M3, where we talk everything marriage, motivation, money, and more.
Yes, yes. And today we've got a good one for you. Before we get started, disclaimer: we are not therapists or marriage counselors, psychiatrists, or psychologists. We're just a couple that are willing to share our insight, our ups and downs, turnarounds, and our experiences on being a happy married couple. Happy.
Got a 2-for-1 special. Got them from Target.
We're just sharing. We're just sharing our experiences. You can take what we give you and what we share with you and apply it to your lives, or don't apply it to your lives. Either way, we're just sharing. What do you got, baby?
That's it. So let's talk about what we're talking about today. Let's talk about what we're talking about today.
Let's get into it. What you got?
What
Come on.
about?
So we're not oblivious to what's going on in our communities, in the world, in our country. So we want to share, with you guys some of the things that we, have come to understand about our culture, our people, our experiences, and how it relates to what's going on with, the world, especially in regards to policing or over policing in particular communities such as African American communities, so on and so forth. So we're going to touch on some subjects. A little more serious episode today, but what you got, Jay? Let's get into it.
And raising Black African American children in today's society with everything that's going on today.
Yes. Let's
So
get it.
then our first topic is, should we teach our children how to engage with the police? Boom.
We absolutely should teach our children how to engage with the police. I know we have, we're raising children, boys and girls, and we definitely have to teach them that when they're pulled over by police officers to behave themselves accordingly, not make sudden moves, keep their hands on the steering wheels or in plain sight of the police officers, be respectful, obey commands, as long as those commands aren't in any way, just like completely disrespecting them as human beings. So similar to the Emmett Till situation, Mamie Till gave Emmett things to be aware of when he went down south, right? So that was in the 1950s, and even today in the 2020s, we still have to, advise our children and coach our children on how to behave when they're in the presence of police officers, people of authority, people with guns, people that sometimes aren't interested in the best outcome in regards to how situations occur with our children. We know that no matter what color the police officer is, white, black, Hispanic, Latin, or what have you. So we just always have to be mindful of that. What do you think?
I think absolutely we need to teach our children how to engage with the police. It's a sad but true fact that you have to teach your young men and also now your young women how to engage and talk to the police, because it's just happening at record numbers. I mean, it's sad that we as a community have to talk to our young men about how to engage with the police, and other races don't have to have those conversations with their children about how you should talk to the police, how you should engage with the police, if they stop you, how to keep your hands, eye contact, don't reach, don't make no sudden moves. It shouldn't have to be like that, because it's sad to say, but in the world we live in, that's just the reality. And we have to teach our young men and now our young girls early on that this is just because of your skin color, that this must happen. And what's sad is, even if you cooperate and do all the things they tell you to do, for some strange, odd reason, you will still be resisting arrest. And they will continue to say, stop resisting, even when you're obeying all of their commands. So then what do we do?
Absolutely.
What do we do as parents? What do we do as a community? Is defunding the police the right thing to do? I don't know. Do you know?
Retraining. I mean, I think there's a lot of things. Retraining the police.
That's like corporate America having, let's have conversations, or what do they call it, when they have to retrain their employees not to discriminate against black people who come into a Starbucks to sit down and have a business meeting, a coffee, and they getting put out because they didn't order something. When everybody else come in and they bring their Dunkin' Donuts in there with them, they ain't getting put out. But it ain't us that's doing it. We come in there to have business meetings, so that retraining.
I mean, I think there's no one answer.
It's not.
But
it's definitely not a one
that
answer.
definitely starts understanding how to empathize with others, right? Where there's a human connection, and we can get beyond looking at color. But how do we get there, right? So there's no silver bullet to it. You know, there's a lot of things, and also psych evaluations, making sure you're hiring the right people to police communities and not over police communities, because we know the African American community is over policed. It is.
It starts sad. From the head.
It absolutely, and it's not something that just started happening. It's been happening. So are we really surprised by what happened in Memphis? Not really surprised.
I'm saddened by what happened.
It's very sad, but are we surprised? Because we saw it with Rodney King. And how many times has it happened before and we didn't see it? How many times has it occurred and we were oblivious to it? But now we have smartphones, right? And we have body cams on the police officers and all of these cameras that are catching that bad behavior. So it's a lot. It takes a lot.
I mean, will it get better because of the body cameras? Clearly, it's not, because they had body cameras on. That's how they were able to see the full video of what took place, along with the other cameras that was in the area that captured certain things also. But did that stop them? They knew they had the body cameras on, because you got to turn them on when you check into work or whatever have you, however they have to do it. I don't know. I ain't no police. But they clearly had them on, and it didn't stop them from doing whatever they did to this young man.
It does at least allow us to hold them accountable for their behavior. So we can see it. They can't lie and say, I didn't do it. You did it. You did it. So holding them accountable and really giving them sentences that are reflective of the crime that is committed by officers, I think is going to be something that will help to hopefully curb some of this bad behavior. I mean, only time will tell.
Hopefully.
We'll see.
Hopefully it does.
What else we got?
What do you guys think? I mean, we both have very strong opinions about it. I did not watch the video of what happened. As a mother of two African American males, one that's 24, I couldn't stomach to watch the video because I watched the George Floyd video, and it was heartbreaking. And it does something to your mental when you constantly have to watch or constantly hear about things happening. It takes you into depression. It's nothing to be motivated about.
It's traumatizing.
It's very traumatizing.
It is. It's traumatic. Seeing those images over and over again.
And just like somebody had mentioned on, or had said on Instagram, that she wanted kids, but she just doesn't want to bring kids into this world. So it's like, and somebody commented and said, well, if you believe and trust in God, then you wouldn't have that, then you wouldn't feel that type of way. I don't know if the person who made that comment got kids, but it's a true feeling that you feel with everything that's going on, especially as a mother. Not taken away from the fathers and what they go through, but a mother with their children is a different bond. It's just different.
I can, as a father, and not only that, but also I was a young black man and I was harassed by cops, and it's not a good feeling. So I understand it as a black man, as an African American man living in the United States of America, being pulled over for no reason, just to check your ID to see if you have warrants. If you're riding in a car with you and a couple of your homies, y'all just going for a ride, being pulled over. I specifically remember being pulled over, and there was two sets of cops that pulled us over. One group came to the driver's side, another group came to the passenger side, asking for the passenger's ID, and I'm like, but he's not even driving. Like, I'm the one that's driving. Like, what did I do? I didn't get a ticket or anything. It was just checking IDs, checking for warrants, because they assume because you're a young black man driving that you probably, more than likely have a warrant out for arrest. They couldn't find anything, so they let us go. So it's definitely something that, is near and dear to my heart, because I can empathize, because I've been in situations where it could have gotten out of control. It could have gotten worse. And sometimes the black cops are worse than the white cops. Like, I've been harassed by both white cops and black cops. So we got to do something. There's not a silver bullet on how to fix the situation, but it's going to take us all to make sure we're making noise, to make sure we're protesting, to make sure we're talking about it. So, like, even right now, it would be selfish of us to have a platform and not discuss the situation, because it would be self-serving for us to only talk about us and what's going on in our world. And there's so many other things going on that we need to address as well. So I want to say kudos to everyone that's out there on the front lines, putting their bodies at risk, putting their lives at risk. Shout out to Ben Crump for being on it. So appreciate a brother like that. Like Johnny Cochran, Johnny was on it. Something happened, call Johnny. Johnny was on it. So now Ben Crump is that go-to guy in order to try to get some justice in regards to situations that occur that make us feel bad, that make us look bad, that are unfair, unjust.
Absolutely.
It's a very interesting situation that we're in, and time that we live in, and how much has changed since the civil rights movement with Dr. King marching. So some of the laws have changed, but what's in people's hearts? Has that changed? Because we're still seeing it.
We want to believe it changed. We want to believe it's changed because, decades have passed. So we want to believe it's changed. But in reality, it hasn't changed. Nothing has changed. They want us to believe something is changing. But nothing has changed.
The laws have changed. You can eat in a restaurant. You don't have to sit at the back of the bus.
Some restaurants.
So the laws have changed in order to, not make you feel like, coloreds have to go here, whites can go there. So
some restaurants still make you feel like that without the sign being on the door.
Signs, absolutely. Because again, you can change the laws, but you can't change what's in people's hearts. So you hope that as Dr. King said, so eloquently, that our children will be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And we still see that doesn't hold true in many places. So what else we got?
It really doesn't. I just think that we all take for granted that the most precious thing we have, or we take for granted the ability to leave the house every day and make it back home. We take that for granted because in our mind we like, that's what we gonna do. We gonna leave home and we know we gonna make it back home. So we take that for granted every single day because every single day we walk out that door is a possibility that we won't make it back home. That young man went out to look at the moon, the stars, or sunset. Take pictures of the sunset and go to the skate park. Mm-hmm. And he did not make it back home because somebody's ego got the best of them.
And it was mob action. So 1, 2, 3, like 4, 5 cops, 6 cops all these cops being involved. No one had the decency to say, hey, this is wrong. Stop. Hey, stop. Throw themselves in front of this young man and say, we got to stop
blackballed by their
peers.
Mm-hmm. Because what movie was that they said, like, you can't say anything in fear of being retaliated against? It was we just watched that movie. You know, when the cops, he was like, man, I had to stop you even though you put on the signal. You remember? I can't think of the name of the movie, but in the movie they addressed the fact that if you say something about a cop, when the black kid killed the girl in the car, or shot the boy in the car because he was like, why are you in this neighborhood? It's only to buy drugs or whatever. And it was the black cop.
Yeah, no.
You don't remember?
Yeah, no.
I think it was on Netflix, one of the stations. I can't think of the name of it right now. It's like slipping my mind. But they addressed that in that movie, that even though another cop seen him, they help cover it up for him because if you see something, or the black cop seen something else happen with somebody else, they killed somebody else, and he didn't say anything. He didn't stop him because he did not want to get retaliated against or on or blackballed in the police little.
It's the blue shield. They protect themselves. They protect each other.
I almost rolled my eyes.
Don't roll your eyes.
I almost did. I might have did it. You gotta watch the playback and see.
What else we got?
I mean, we touched on, doesn't matter if police harassment comes from black cops or white cops. I mean, a cop is a cop.
Doesn't matter.
A cop is a cop. I mean, it don't matter. I don't know.
It doesn't matter. I've got pulled over and received terrible treatment from black cops. Remember, we got pulled over, right? Watch this. Here's an example.
We got pulled over a couple times.
We did. And never got a ticket, right? Never get a ticket, but we get pulled over. We got pulled over once, leaving a restaurant or
I don't know where we were coming from. I know we were downtown.
We're downtown Chicago. Got pulled over. I signaled everything, but I'm wondering why I got pulled over. So the cop pulls me over, comes to my side, asks me if I had been drinking. And I'm like, yeah, I actually had one drink. And I was honest about it. I said, yes, officer, I had one drink. They look at her. What did they say to you?
Has he been drinking? Nah, this wasn't my husband at the time, so I could have ratted him out and be like, he been drinking. But, he only had one drink, I think. And I was like, no. And it was like, oh, okay. You got an air freshener hanging from your rearview mirror. Now, they couldn't have seen it from the outside because it was dark outside. And the car he had at the time had tinted windows. So it's not like they could have seen the air freshener because they came up from behind us. They didn't come from in front of us. So it's not like they could have seen the air freshener. But I actually thought you were going to talk about when we got pulled over when we was looking at houses.
Well, that too. But wait, okay. So we got pulled over because of the air freshener. Black ice. The black ice hanging, air freshener. I yanked it down. From that point on, I never put an air freshener up hanging on a mirror. Mm-hmm. Everybody did that. It's like, yo, you put an air freshener in there, freshen your car up, or anything. They said it obstructs the view. So you can't have anything. So if you get pulled over because you have something hanging, it's a garbage BS reason to pull you over. And they did. Mm-hmm. I yanked it down, didn't get a ticket. They let us go on our way. The other time we got pulled over, because we were looking at real estate. Just take a look at houses. Go ahead, you tell that story.
We was looking at real estate, and one of the Karens in the neighborhood must have seen us go up to this vacant house. Now, we were just looking, so we looked around the house, and it's a new model home, so they don't have no curtains and nothing up. So we looking through the windows or whatever. It was on a Sunday when most people go out, like you go to the car dealership, looking around at the car dealership. We go looking at houses, just looking around, see what's new out. And a Karen must have called the police to say that she seen some suspicious people in the neighborhood. Black folk. The colored people was in the neighborhood. So the police came up, very nice, very nice. But if he wasn't the type of person he was, it could have went sideways very, very quickly. Because this lady called and said, what did he said that she said it was suspicious people walking around the house.
Mm-hmm. And mind you, it wasn't just us. We had 2 children with us.
Mm-hmm.
So us and 2 children. He was probably 4 years old.
I think he was 3.
Yeah. So a little kid, and
yeah, I think he was 3.
And maybe 11-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So like a 3 and 11-year-old. Oh yeah, we're gonna break into a house with these little kids. Like we were just taking a look at it. Was like some model homes, some new homes that were built in the community. We leave. Cop was actually driving in the opposite direction from us. Busted you. I was like, we're about to get pulled over. Flashes lights, pulls us over. And
because of course you described the car we were in.
Absolutely. And he was as polite as could be. He said, let me ask you guys a question. You guys happen to be looking at some new homes. We're like, we are. We live in a neighboring community. We're just taking a look to see if, this is an area we'd like to move to, and taking a look at some of the real estate, that's being built here. And he was like, I assumed as much. He was like, we got a call, and, I had to come and
check it out. Because it was from somebody who calls all the time on people, is what he said.
Yes.
But if he didn't come out and it was something, then, it would be something. But if he wasn't that type of officer who like, I understand people drive around, they looking. Like, we don't look like no robbers or...
What does a robber look like?
I don't know. You might look like kind of like a robber. Like you probably would rob a bank or something, but
might look like embezzlers.
Embezzlers. Like,
we could. But you don't know. What does a robber look like?
I don't want to be no embezzler.
What does a robber look like? I mean,
I don't want to go to jail.
He was a cool cop though. White cop,
very
really
nice,
cool.
Very nice.
He let us go. He ain't even check ID. He was just like, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. It was a Sunday. What else we got?
That's all we got.
Really?
That's all we got. That's
wow.
That's enough.
Wow.
For today.
Wow. So, what's the moral of the story for today?
The moral of the story is we need change. Is the defunding the police? Is that an option? Is that something that you want to see? Because then, I mean, we don't really have protection now, but if you defund the police, what's in its place? What is then next?
I'll tell you what I heard. There is an alternate number other than calling 911 that they're working on. They're working on rolling out a new program where you would dial this number in case of mental issues. Like there's a person that has a mental breakdown, or they have, people that they act out because of something, a chemical imbalance, right? So instead of calling the police,
because they don't know how to handle it,
they call this other department that'll help to de-escalate the situation without the force and the arm of a police officer.
I guess we'll have to see how they handle stuff.
We'll see
when they called out.
That is an option to try to roll something else out in order to help actually relieve some of the calls from police officers. I'm sure there's a lot of good police officers out there. Like there are. But it's the bad ones that make it bad for all cops. I mean, it's like the rotten apple spoils the bunch, right? So it's the bad cops that make it bad for all cops. I've met with a lot of good cops. I know a lot of good cops. I've broken bread with a lot of good cops. I'm related to some good cops. So I actually wanted to be a police officer. My daddy talked me out of it though. And here's the reason why I wanted to be a police officer is because I had been mistreated and I had been privy to so many bad cops that I wanted to be a cop to prove that there are good cops out there.
You wanted to be like Quake.
But guess what? I ended up being a cop on Chicago PD. Oh, you might as well drop a picture, an image of me right there. Boom, police officer Zell. But pay attention to your surroundings. My takeaway is we got to continue to teach our children how to behave with authorities, with police officers. We have to constantly teach them.
I mean, we have to teach them.
We have to keep talking about it too.
Would that matter to cops like we have seen? You polite, you obeying, and when you feel like your life is being threatened or you are at risk, your first natural response is to flee.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So
but then
no
that gives them reason to chase.
It does. But no matter how polite, no matter how anything you are, if they gonna do it to you, they gonna do it to you.
We still have to teach them though.
You definitely have to teach them. You definitely have to teach them.
We do. We gotta teach them. Good cops, stand up. I know y'all out there. Stand up. Speak out against this. Bad cops.
Ain't no cops gonna say nothing.
Change your behavior. Act right. Be better. Do better. You have kids too. You want your kids to come home just like we want our kids to come home. Act right. What are we doing here? What's your closing remarks?
Limits only exist in your mind.
Ooh.
That's all I got.
Wow. Listen, here's what I have for you. Stay active. Stay focused. Stay motivated. And even if you can't stay motivated, stay consistent. And please, everyone, stay safe. We love you. M3. See you next time.
And chronically amazed that anyone can wage war, conflict, battle, or strife.